reports that had a lot of important recommendations was the opening the black box of child support, shining a light on how financial abuse is perpetrated. That report drew on lived experience of 675 single mothers. It made clear that violence is not incidental to the child support system. It had key recommendations, including moving all child support collection back into the ATO, because the ATO is best placed to pursue the $3.7 billion in outstanding child support debt, making all child support debts owed to and enforced by the Commonwealth, rather than asking single mothers to pursue former partners when there's been domestic violence for owed child support.
First one was
For the ATO to pursue those debts. Former partners can then when there's
Tamil vandu idanoda third project. First one was
for the ATO to pursue that paying primary carers first and pursuing non-compliant payers second. And importantly, if you're not going to change who is recovering these amounts, abolishing the maintenance income test and delinking family tax benefit from child support. These are not radical proposed, they're evidence-based, they're supported by organisations like Single Mother Families Australia and Women's Legal Services. Yet here we are, 2026, still a long time, many months since that report was provided to the government in the last term of government. And we're here with a bill with technical amendments, but we still do not have that systemic reform that is needed. We're here with a bill with technical amendments, but we still do not have that systemic reform. So 2 years ago, I attended the parliamentary launch of the Black Box report, alongside advocates, frontline workers and women sharing lived experience. It was sobering, and it was clear that reform was urgent. I wrote to the then Minister for Social Services, calling for action, and the response acknowledged the seriousness of unpaid child support and the risk of financial abuse. It committed to ensuring systems do not exacerbate harm, and 2 years on, nothing. Crickets. No changes to the system. More women and children have been left subject to this foul and controlling system. And that is why there is that deep frustration and disbelief that despite all the good, well-meaning assurances, we are still failing to see this government enact the more significant changes that will make a real difference to single parents. Now, I want to acknowledge Single Mother Families Australia and their CEO, Therese Edwards. She has been working passionately. Many in this place have met with her. The work of the organisation consistently demonstrates the scale of the problem. Nearly 300,000 families lose approximately $810 million annually in family payments due to child support income that may never be received. The maintenance income test is harsher than income tests applied to wages or investments. Now, how wrong is that for a system? It contradicts commitments to women's economic security. So, to the government, an effective child support system must be safe, certain and accountable. Safe means it has to have victim survivors and must mean that they are not forced to engage with abusers to secure payments of child support. It must be certain, meaning children receive financial support regardless of administrative delay. And it should be accountable, meaning debt recovery targets those who owe, not those already carrying caring responsibilities. This bill doesn't move us meaningfully towards that roadmap, and it maintains a system that is structurally flawed. So that's why I will continue to call for a National Royal Commission into domestic and family violence and femicide, because the intersections between violence, poverty and policy failure are undeniable. And while we have piecemeal approach of state-based inquiries, but no ultimate accountability at federal level, and because our institutions are not adequately protecting women and children. Because billions of dollars have been spent on programs and reviews, yet domestic violence rates remain unacceptably high, financial abuse of single parents remains normalised, and accountability remains fragmented. So, we can't keep funding responses without interrogating the systems. We need structural reform and accountability, And I really urge the government to get on with the job of implementing those meaningful structural reforms that will genuinely help single parents.
I thank the member for Warringah. The question is that the bill now be read a second time, and I call the minister.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, and I'd like to thank all the members who've spoken on this bill for their support and therefore their constructive comments. Just with respect to some of the comments made by the member for Warringah, we understand only too well that that families broadly, and particularly single-parent families, are indeed under cost of living pressures, and that's why we have introduced a myriad of measures, a cost of living savings, cost of living measures to help families who are under that pressure. I'm sure that the member has heard us make those lists over and over again, and I'm sure that I won't waste this House's time by going through them all again. But I will mention one, of course, that is including tripling the rent assistance. With respect to family and domestic violence issues that the member has raised, we are currently spending over $4 billion or investing $4 billion to protect victims of family and domestic violence. Just yesterday, indeed, we launched the Our Ways, Strong Ways, Our Voices, an absolute landmark document strategy to make sure that First Nations people are protected from family and domestic and sexual violence. An absolutely amazing day it was yesterday with many members of the First Nations communities there to share in that, something they had been calling on for days. And just this morning with Assistant Minister Rebecca White, we announced an excellent measure to expand a program that we are working with primary healthcare facilities to train up health professionals, admin staff, allied health staff, to know exactly what to do when someone discloses family and domestic violence in their health facility. It's a wonderful program that has been lauded right across the primary healthcare sector. With respect to a Royal Commission, I think, that the Minister made it very clear in question time the other day that there have been Royal Commissions after Royal Commissions, reports after reports into family and domestic violence with hundreds and hundreds of recommendations, and that the very people working in the sector, peak bodies, those at the coalface, have all said to us, we don't need another inquiry. What we need is for you to get on with the job and to invest the resources that you might expend on a Royal Commission into the sector, and making sure that we actually make inroads on those recommendations. The Albanese government is indeed also, with other issues raised by the member, delivering on our commitment to embed safety in Commonwealth systems and ensure the social security system cannot be weaponised against women experiencing violence. And new measures will be introduced to reform the special circumstances debt waiver, which will give Services Australia extended powers to waive social security debts that have been incurred as a result of domestic and family violence. And when
Minister could just pause. Division has been called for in the House. The proceedings are suspended to enable honourable members to attend the division. The proceedings will resume when the Chair of the Federation Chamber is resumed at the conclusion of the division and subsequent divisions.